Okay, I got it. Okay, I'm recording now.
Cool,
But
cool. Thanks.
yeah, yeah. So like, because in theory, the proper thing to do here is create like a new collection type, which is going to be an inbox, and then in there have a bunch of like two different sections, which is lesson modules and like one inbox to one uh what's it called, mentor. But I was really lazy. I didn't want to deal with all that, so I just created this, which technically isn't right. But like I said, just try to be lazy. It's really gonna help you out. But okay, let's go back to here. So then once you created that, uh, you're gonna create a like an API request to the backend. So this is where like you can kind of do it in any order you want, but for this, I'll explain what all of these are. So you're gonna want to describe like if it's a put, a get, or a like whatever it is. So in this case, it's a put because I'm not creating a new mentor. I'm just changing a section, like a part of a mentor. So it's just gonna be a put. And then whenever you're doing a put or a get, you need to include an ID. So in this case, the ID is the mentor. And then after that, if it's a put, you want to include whatever you're like adding, and you can name this whatever you want. And then you have to add like some basic errors, and you want to make sure that you're authenticating it. And then this is just like the way you figure out what you're going to send to, like what link, what path you're going to choose is based off like the backend. So then you're going to go all the way down here, and then that's where I was talking about like I know I added something to mentor like here, so I'm gonna want to modify mentor. So I'm gonna go to mentor, I'm gonna go to routes, and then here's where all the like all of these are in here. They all match. So if I were to get this path, let me get one more decimal. Like it's this one. It's literally just get teachers is what this is. This is literally just calling this the same way that this is just calling where do we go? This. So here you're gonna do like create like you can just copy one of these, paste it. Don't worry about the policies or anything. You're just gonna if you're including like an ID, like if it's a put or a delete or a get, you just add that. And make sure there's no duplicates. Or I guess in this case, yeah, make sure there's no duplicates in that like if I wanted to get something else, like put something else in mentor, then I'm gonna have to change some things around. Because yeah, it's not going to be able to tell the difference. But in this case, like this is fine because one is a put, one is a delete. But I don't think we should run into errors with that or issues with that.
Hey,
But
so
once you
what are
create,
these?
yeah,
Sorry, not to cut you
good.
off. I mean,
No, you're good.
but what are these requests do?
These,
Like again,
that's
like
that's what I'm
the
gonna.
no,
Yeah,
like request.js, like as a file. Like, what's the purpose of editing it? Like, I'm very, I don't know, just lost on
this
that.
is just the API. So like this is just requesting data from the backend because like this. Oh, I keep going to the wrong one. Oh, fuck, I don't want to do that. This is back end. Like this is not. I know it looks like it could be like front end, but this is an entirely different like URL to from the front end. So like right now, localhost 3000 doesn't have any of this information. Like it doesn't have any of the activity levels. It doesn't have any of the units. It doesn't have anything. That's why I can see all this data here, is because this is an entirely like this is the database that I'm looking at. This is the database. It just has like a little pretty front end animation for admin, so you can like see things. But
Okay, okay,
yeah, just
makes
think of this
sense.
as all the raw data. So this is literally just shooting a request to here to either modify, get, or delete, or do whatever you want with the data. Does that make sense?
Okay, so if you're like you're adding something or deleting something, you always want to be setting like a request, especially if it's
Yeah,
about data. Okay.
yeah. So like if you're doing anything where you need something from backend, whether it's like you're getting like barely any information, you need like any sort of information from backend, you're always going to be calling like request.js. So you're gonna like a lot like most of these pages, if not all of them, have yeah, like this import from request.js where they import all the functions that they need. So that's what you're gonna want to do. Like in this case, I had share lessons here, and I literally just do with it.
But so once you're
Here, it kind of like breaks into a few different ways of how you can do this. Like if you're using a find function, they're usually implemented. So like they usually already have one, but this is where it gets kind of confusing because
this is like what this
is calling. So like the request.js basically asks for routes, like it directs you to routes.jsn. So this is like it directs you to the backend. So then from here, it's like a hub. Think of this as like a hub. Like this is a hub, this is a hub, this directs you to this hub, and then from here we gotta direct like somewhere even more specific because this is just like
from here I can either get
all mentors, or I could get a specific mentor, or I could get I could get a specific mentor. I could get I could create a mentor. Like I like once we're here, like I'm in the backend. Now I got to figure out what I got to do. Like what's the original reason why I came here, and then
in this case it's a I'm gonna follow this path. That's what the path
path is essentially. So that's why you want to like make sure your paths are matching. So here, like you're passing into backend mentors backslash ID. So then once we're in here, it's gonna look for mentors backslash ID, and it's gonna be like, oh, okay, there's three of them, but I know I need a put, so automatically this is the only one. So I'm gonna go here, and then from here you add a handler, which is this is like the function of what you're gonna do. Because up till now we haven't really done anything. We just got to backend. So now I'm gonna follow this handler. So all this handler does is you have your configuration, which is like handling where you're gonna go, which is just this. And then right under that you have controllers, which is now what am I gonna do? So once you get to controllers,
this is the ugly
stuff that's not really fun to deal with. But like in this example, this is creating. So the same way that they're calling
doc create. This is essentially like literally just calling this. It's literally just running this.
this and then returning whatever created uh
Mentor. So here I'm doing add to inbox.
so I created this function
That adds to inbox because we're updating.
because I was trying to figure that out.
But you're gonna just have to
Honestly just copy a lot of the stuff here. Like I really didn't understand any of it. I just had like went around seeing like, oh, okay, so like I want to add something. So I went to Workspace and looked at like what editing something looks like, and that's how I got this.
but this is
Like
like
a function that I need to make, which is removing something from inbox. So this adds to inbox, this removes. So essentially, if I wanted to like implement this, like let's say this was fully done and functioning, I would just do like something like this. I would do put. So it's going to be a put, and then it's going to be
like a I don't know, government. I'll just add an extra
S.
ID and it'll just it's not what I wanted.
It would just literally be like this. So if I called this path, so if I go here and I'd have to create an entirely new one and went here and just added an extra S, change this to
I just did this. Now this is essentially this
works. Like this is gonna go here. It's gonna see, okay, mentors ID, and then it's gonna go here, and then it's gonna run this function where this is the ID that I passed in. Okay.
That's pretty much a
Very rough rundown of what this backend stuff is doing.
don't want this.
All right.
Any questions?
No,
Okay.
I'll have to just look at it and then I'll
Yeah.
have questions when I'm doing it.
Yeah. So then after you create whatever you need to, you have to do like one more thing, which is you have to go to settings and you have to go to roles.
No, yeah, no, this is right quick.
Oh, it's gonna take a while because every time you modify anything in backend, your server restarts. So
You're gonna have to keep that in mind.
you're gonna go to roles.
And then like in this case,
Uh
classroom manager is the
same thing as a mentor. So I'm gonna go in here, and then like I edited something in Mentor. So I don't know why they made it like this, but
mentor. I want to make sure
sure, add to inbox is checked off. Like a mentor can run that function. If that makes sense.
and then after that, you're probably gonna have to do
A lot of debugging, and it's gonna be a lot of errors. But as long as you like, you're really only gonna run into 2 errors, which is like, forgot what they were.
Forgot what.
It's either a database error or a front end error.
I think it's a 401.
Yeah, so you're either gonna run into like a 401 error, which is like you either I don't think that's a right error.
I know a 500.
It is.
Yeah, so if you
You get a 500 error while trying to like
pass anything to back
backend or get or delete, it's because
probably because
this is wrong.
usually it's going to be
Me because anything in backend. So I guess it could be here, but this isn't really like a lot of code. So this
is where it's going to be.
you're gonna have some sort of issue, and like these return types, like they're really specific too. So you got to be careful with these. You just have to look around because I can't really explain this too well. But yeah, if you run into a 500 error, that's what that is. And then there's like I think it's 404 error.
I think it's paging. Okay, now there's like a 400
Something error. That's just the front end. That just means that like whatever you're passing in isn't a valid input.
So like let's say you're passing
In like a string instead of an integer, which I was doing. So then it was giving me like a 400 error, and I couldn't figure out why. So it's not even gonna make it to backend. It's just gonna usually like if you try to debug it, it's gonna like end up showing you somewhere in like requests.js. Like it's gonna lead you somewhere to. It's gonna lead you right here actually to this error. But yeah, it's
pretty much
it.
there's like something
They showed us like one of the TAs like shared in Slack that was
a way
to check if whatever you created works, but I can't get it to work, so I'm not even gonna bother showing it.
But this is pretty much the entire idea.
And then this can be a little confusing sometimes too because like some of these functions aren't in here. I don't know where they are. Like I don't know how they're implemented. Like find, like I showed you create, but like in theory find, like okay, find should be in here, but there's no function called find. So I don't know how it's finding things, but yeah,
that's pretty much it. I think it's just implemented somewhere else.
It's like dot count in theory should be in here, but there's literally no function called count.
But yeah,
can't really think of anything. Are some of you still running into issues with like displaying data on here and seeing it?
I'm not. I'm just kind of struggling with trying to figure out
Stop recording.
which functions manipulate